My name is William Legrand, and this is a spit of land off the coast of Charleston, South Carolina. Once, I was a wealthy man, but a string of misfortunes brought me to ruin. Now, this island is my home. I don't complain. Solitude, for me, is not a punishment. It's a choice. I live in a modest cabin facing the beach, and each morning I rise early and walk the island's winding trails. My sharp eyes and relentless mind are always searching, and this island never fails to surprise me. One spring morning, as I wandered the deserted beach in the island's northern part, I stumbled upon something remarkable. An insect, unlike anything I'd seen before. A beetle, with a golden, metallic body. I searched for something around me that could help pick it up. I found a piece of parchment nearby. I wrapped the beetle carefully and brought it home, eager to study it further. I stared at it for hours, transfixed. There was something strange about it. A dark mark on its back, one that looked uncannily like a skull. It felt as though the beetle was keeping a secret, just waiting for me to listen. And then I remembered the parchment. Until then, I'd paid it little attention. But under the heat of the fireplace, something began to emerge. A faint image in one corner, a skull. I couldn't believe my eyes. And then, in the opposite corner, a goat. Then a string of strange symbols. That was the moment I understood. This wasn't just any parchment. The message had been written in invisible ink, meant to be seen only when warmed. I wasn't just looking at it curiosity. I was holding a cipher, a hidden message, waiting to be cracked. The first step was figuring out the language. I had two visual clues, a skull and a goat. The skull, possibly death or pirates, and the goat? No, maybe a kid. That word, kid, sparked something, and it pointed me to Captain Kidd, the infamous pirate. He was English, and besides, that wordplay only made sense in English. Next, I began studying the frequency. I counted how often each symbol appeared and came up with a list. One character, 8, showed up 33 times. In English, the most frequent letter is E. I looked for other patterns. I had to find the one of the most frequent words in English, the article the. A 3-letter sequence that appeared repeatedly, whose last symbol was 8. I found it. It was semicolon 48. That gave me 3 confirmed letters. From there, I worked by deduction. If I saw T blank E E, the missing letter had to be R, tree. THR blank H could only be through, unlocking more of the code, OUG. Slowly, word by word, the cipher gave way to meaning. A good glass in the bishop's hostel in the devil's seat. 41 degrees and 13 minutes. Northeast, and by north, main branch, second limb, east side. Shoot from the left eye of the death's head. A beeline from the tree through the shot 50 feet out. The first clue was Bishop's Hostel. I remembered a plantation once owned by a family named Bessop. When I arrived, I asked a local worker about it, and they directed me to Bessop's Castle. It wasn't a castle, but a very tall, unusual rock formation. Its northern tip jutted out sharply. That had to be the Devil's Seat. I climbed to the top with no issue but little fatigue. I've always been a talented climber. Besides, the rock offered many grips. Then I walked to the edge, looking at the wonderful landscape from above. Finally, I sat next to where the message told me to. Took out my telescope, the good glass, and pointed it northeast. I looked closely across the forest, the whole expanse. And there, on a distant tree branch, at 41 degrees and 13 minutes elevation, a white shape. I knew what that was. The death's head, A skull. I followed a path through the woods until I reached the tree. Up close, there was no doubt. It was a skull, nailed to the second branch on the east side. I climbed easily, gripping the old oak's limbs, then swung using a higher branch, and there I was. Before reaching the skull, I tied a bullet to one end of a string and let it droop to the left eye socket down to the forest floor. According to the message, I had to trace a sight line from the tree to where the bullet had landed. Then walk 50 feet further in the same direction. I'm not a man who enjoys digging. I was raised a gentleman. But in that moment, driven by the thrill of the hunt, I barely noticed the effort. In the meantime, it was getting even darker, but I wouldn't stop. I knew I was close. After an hour, my shovel struck wood. I was stunned. A chest, heavy, sealed, buried deep beneath the earth. I dragged it into the light and pried it open. Wow. Gold, jewels, a fortune! And in that instant I knew I would never be poor again. But even now, surrounded by more wealth than I had ever imagined, I still think about the beetle. What led me here? Sense? Fate? Or perhaps a kind of lucid madness, the kind only known to those who've stared into mystery and watched it blink back.